I think I've got a massively obsessive personality, and I think ever since I started, I have just been hooked almost. It's everything to me. It's like mixing extreme sports and athletics together, and like just a general rush in general of from when you stood at the back of the runway until you've landed on the bed is unreal. Nothing I've done replicates it. I think this is going to sound crazy, but I think getting hurt was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. When I was hurt from November through to March, I was I'd honestly say I wasn't as happy, like because pole vaulting just takes me away from stuff. So having that taken away is hard, but it's also you also grow from times like that as well. The bronze at English schools, I think that set me up for nationals because I came third with the same height that came second, but it was poor mistakes over lower bars that cost me. So then turned up to nationals and didn't knock a bar off until what 4:35 and then got over 4:35 and 4:40. Over the next few years, I am hoping to start competing at a higher level. Hopefully, I'm looking to branch out and honestly make some big moves. I know what I can do. I know what I want to do. So it's just a matter of time.
So, Harry, you have been in the top five in pole vault for age categories consistently ever since you started competing. So, I know the track and field community as well. It's no secret that it is a very technically demanding sport, if not the most technically demanding. So, how did you end up becoming so passionate about it? Where did that all start for you?
I think it probably started with my uncle, was a local PE teacher around near where I live, and during like 2021, so Easter time, he dragged me along to his school and said, "Oh, give pole vaulting a go, because you're pretty crazy and pretty quick, so give it a go, see what happens." Then did that like two times with him at his school. Then he took me up to my current coach, John Marn, up at Lee Valley, and since then I've been training there and loving it. And I think me loving the event comes from the difficulty, knowing that it's not simple. And I think that's also really helpful for life in general because it actually teaches you that stuff takes time and it'll take a while to get good, but eventually it'll come good and you'll be good.
I spoke to Owen Hard a little while back, and he said to us that basically he's crazy. He likes the adrenaline, and that's why he likes the sport. Would you say part of that comes into it as well?
I 100% agree. Like I think it's like mixing extreme sports and athletics together. And like just a general rush in general of from when you stood at the back of the runway until you've landed on the bed is unreal. Nothing I've done replicates it. So
Yeah, because obviously I know you've done other events in the past as well. You've done jumping events. You've done a few events to be fair, haven't you? Alongside.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I did combined events for year nine, basically because my school kind of dragged me into it. But and then that actually turned out all right. But obviously throughout that whole time, no, I wasn't training for any other events. It was just turn up at the competitions and do it. But pole vault since starting athletics in 2021 has been my main focus for the whole time.
and you've got a lot of medals, so obviously it's going well for you in some way. Uh, so the club you're currently with, for those who don't know, is Enfield and Haringey.
Yeah.
How big of a role are they in your successes, would you say, and just Essex in general? Like, how important are the athletes in your area for your successes?
So I think my club's been really helpful in giving me like a platform in terms of they've got the equipment they've got is second to none. Like they've given me the facilities and access to Lee Valley and the poles, for example, they've got up there is without that I wouldn't be where I am today. And there's no doubt about that. And like the athletes in my local area, to be fair, pole vault because obviously it's quite a not kind of niche in some ways. I think there's not a lot of us pole vaulters are spread about from different counties, so a lot of counties have like one or two decent vaulters. Essex at the minute have got some really good like under 15 vaulters, but under 17s there's not actually that many at all. But in terms of other athletes from Essex, I've made a lot of friends who are other athletes, which is quite good in terms of just trying to build relationships with them and actually learning from them how different athletes train or whatever, and picking different bits from people's training and putting it into your own training. I find really helpful.
What's your coach like? Could you tell us a little bit about the relationship with your coach at the moment?
John's a lovely man. Like ever since I started, he's taken me under his wing and really looked after me. And he's really big about enjoying pole vault and having fun with it. And that's something I couldn't agree more with. I think the second you start taking things massively too seriously and get down on it is when it all goes wrong. And I found that out for myself as well in the past year or so. And he's just taught me really to love the sport and keep going. And without him, I wouldn't be anywhere. So
Yeah, because a lot of it is down to your mental capabilities, if we're being honest. Like, obviously, you
yeah,
need to be very physically capable. But again, from talking to people like Owen Hurd and Harry Kendall, who's a combined eventer that does pole vault as well, it's so clear that you need to have that mindset to match the physicalities of it as well. Because if you don't have that, it's not going to work out at the end of the day. So you need to make sure that both of them are in check. So yeah, if your coach is able to do that and is able to help you really get into the sport in both of those senses, then you're already winning in that sense, whether you get the medals or not. So that in
yeah.
itself is incredible. Um, and in your training as well, you film a lot of video diaries to show people how you're progressing, basically. So, what motivated you to start those in the first place? Was there a reason you wanted to do these video diaries?
I think for the videos of my pole vaulting, I'll video every training session because I think feedback over look I love looking back at old vaults. So even I'll go back a year or so, watch vaults from under 15s and see what I was doing then and now. See what some things might even been better than they are now. But I just like comparing vaults and analysing them during a session and after a session, just to see what was going well and what also needs work on. Because I think a vault's quite fluid, like it changes with time. And I think there's certain things that I know there's certain things I was doing under 15s that was really good that has kind of taken a back seat at the minute for various reasons. And I think the vaults that have gone really well this year that have seen me jump quite high has been due to me just putting stuff together that I was doing well and I'm doing well now currently as well. So
And what sort of feedback have you had then? In general, would you say has the feedback been quite what's the word? Has it been encouraging for you to see the feedback that you've had on your videos?
yeah, I think like one of the funny things was at Nationals a couple of weeks ago, whilst we were sitting down waiting for the medal presentation, one of the boys sat next to me who had come third had said, "Harry, I actually really like your videos, and you've actually made me want to start doing some as well." And I was actually a bit shocked because I don't do them to get a reaction out of people. Like I do it because I enjoy making them, and it's fun. I like looking through progress or whatever, and I just like think hey, it's something to do. It takes up some time, so let's do it. I don't care if they do well, don't do well. I don't do them for other people. I do them for myself. So yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, obviously you enjoy doing it because, like I say, you've done quite a few within these past few months, and it's nice for me as well, and as you say, for other people just to see like a bit behind the scenes footage, if you like, just to see how you prepare for things and lead up to competitions because that we don't often get to see that with a lot of people. It's a lot of the times it's just you know someone will post about their competition, how they've medaled, or whatever it might be, but we don't actually get to see the prep leading up to that moment. So it's quite nice for me as well, like because I don't compete in the sport, but for me to have like a glimpse into what someone your age would be doing, especially when you've got like exams and stuff as well, you've got other commitments alongside that. For me to see how you deal with that it's quite fascinating actually, because yeah, it shows me how you can multitask in a sense, with doing such a demanding sport, doing it with your exams, and I can imagine it's a lot. So yeah, it's really interesting to see how you do it. So yeah, going back to, I mean, you're 16 at the moment. You've literally just
yeah.
finished. So you would have just finished your exams, which I'm sure would have been a stress of its own. So taking things like that into consideration when you're competing and you're training alongside doing exams and alongside doing these other life commitments that you may have, what would you say are the main challenges for someone your age and for other athletes in your age category?
So just balancing time for revision, balancing time for training, and balancing time for yourself. So for me, during my exams, I train in the morning before, which didn't not everyone might do this, but I trained in the morning before my exams, then would do my exams. So the training in the morning would normally just be like sprinting or a gym session, then go into my exams and do my school day. Then I'd finish the day and either just have some time to myself and then do some revision or then go do my vault session later in the day. Depends. But and then just use time when you've got a big gap between exams. Maybe actually just give your time to yourself, do something that you enjoy personally, which obviously for me is my vaulting and training. So in some ways, I'm a bit weird. I love the training and love the hard work that's been put into it. And I think for me, that's where I get my most enjoyment is out of when I'm actually working to
Yeah.
do something because I know what I want to do. So I need to work towards it.
So would you say it's therapeutic in a way then, you doing all of this vaulting? Is it actually, yeah, just would you say it's therapeutic in that sense?
I think I've got a massively obsessive personality, and I think ever since I started, I have just been hooked almost. Like it's everything to me. And I think when I go, like, for example, when I was hurt from November through to March, I'd honestly say I wasn't as happy, like because pole vaulting just takes me away from stuff. It gives me a peace and an escape, and it's something I really love. So having that taken away is hard, but it's also t you also grow from times like that as well. So
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, let's be real, there's much worse addictions to have. So if your
yeah,
addiction to pole vaulting, then
yeah,
then happy days for everyone involved if that's the case.
yeah.
Um, but it's not been plain sailing for you throughout this season. You've had injuries, which I know really impacted the beginning of your year and your indoor season pretty much. So, but then obviously you had a really good performance at the Open Champs not too long ago, and you got bronze at English schools. So, you've had quite the journey this year. So how did you go in from those injuries at the beginning of the year to then medal at these really big comps just a few weeks ago? What's the process been like?
I think this is going to sound crazy, but I think getting hurt was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. And I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that because I think through getting hurt, I've learned so many lessons and met new people that there's this year, yeah, it probably ruined my progress and I've not jumped as high as I probably should have. But I know that in the long run, getting hurt was good. I learned some new practices. I've I've met new people who are going to help me in the long run. I'm actually starting to take care of my body a bit more as well, which is something I've probably neglected before. And we just turn up to training, vault, go home, and not do any of the physical preparation. And now, so the people I've met have taught me through that, and I've now got processes I go through before training, after training to make sure I am fully healthy. And I think that in the future, this injury would have taught me a lot. I think I've grown from it as a person and as an athlete. So I I think it was good for me in general.
So, what would you say are your standout moments have been from the season then, whether it's your injuries or whether it's, like something you've been really proud of this year? What have been the standout moments for you?
I think obviously nationals would have to top it because coming first after a season of what I'd say was undesirable results, probably. I knew I probably could have jumped higher earlier in the season, but everything happens for a reason and it wasn't to be then. And obviously at nationals, everything came together and the result was honestly far beyond my expectations. I think I've been going into competitions now with a new mindset of just enjoy it and have fun and see what happens. Because I think the second you start getting too uptight, too tense, everything falls apart. So enjoying it has been key. And I think winning nationals is definitely top of the season, but also the bronze at English schools. I think that set me up for nationals because I came third with the same height that came second, but it was poor mistakes over lower bars that cost me. So then turned up to nationals and didn't knock a bar off until what 4:35, and then got over 4:35 and 4:40. So yeah.
Yeah, your face when you got that national title said it all. You could just see you were so pleased with yourself. And as you say, that's a really good way of looking at it. These mistakes and injuries that you've had over these past few months, quite rightfully, they will have led up to this moment because obviously, not to be too cliche, but everything does happen for a reason. So, yeah, obviously injuries are never great, but the fact that you're able to take that and then learn from that and then realize that actually if you wouldn't have had these injuries then maybe you wouldn't be where you are today with what you've achieved these past few months. You compete more in the local competitions as opposed to some of the more national championships. Do you think that will change as time goes on? Do you think you'll branch out into a few more national comps?
I think pole vault wise, I think it's pole vault. There's a lot of local meets which I've been doing and some open meets in general this season, just because of time and exams. Because especially during the exam season, I didn't want to be traveling miles and taking ages out just to just go compete. But I think over the next few years, I am hoping to start competing at a higher level, and I know what I'm capable of. I know that in a year, 2 years time, I'll be in a really good place just purely through the work I've been doing now and the work I'll put in over the next winter or so. So hopefully, I'm looking to branch out and honestly make some big moves. I know what I can do. I know what I want to do. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're very keen on learning new things about the sport. Like that's what you love to do. You love to train, you love to learn new things. So obviously this has been a really big season for you in more ways than one, for obvious reasons. What would you say you touched on it a little bit already, but just to recap, what would you say the biggest lessons have been over these past few months, and how are these lessons going to help you for the months and years to come, would you say?
I think I've learned to be almost less hard on myself. I've always been really hypercritical of my performance, so I could come away with a win from a competition or win and an equal PB or whatever, and still be honestly quite upset with myself and disappointed. But I think since over the past couple of months, I've learned to enjoy the process. Because if you don't enjoy the process and don't enjoy the steps it takes to success, then it won't feel as good when you win. And genuinely, I believe that enjoying the hard work and enjoying, I'm not enjoying when it goes wrong. I think disappointment when it goes wrong is a good thing, and it's something that you need to feel because it just shows you care and show you really enjoy what you're doing. So I think another key lesson has been just to look after yourself and look after your body. And I'd go through training sessions, train really hard, and then just walk out and leave. Or beforehand, I wouldn't take as much care through warming up. So I think now, since working with lots of people, for example, I've got an osteo now who is helping to look after my body, and learning new processes with him has really helped just honestly be fitter and look after myself better. So
Hey, well, I mean, yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you. Like, you've obviously got some big plans lined up, so best of luck with that, and fingers crossed everything goes well for you. So, just to round up, then, before we finish, if you, no pressure, if you could sum pole vault up in 3 words, what 3 words would you use to describe your love for pole vault? Would you say?
probably fast, crazy, and wild.
So, basically,
So
anything that's to do with daredevils, essentially, that's how you would describe your passion for it.
yeah, yeah. I think it's just because it's unexpected. Anything can happen. Like you can go into a competition being the favorite. You can go into the competition being the worst ranked of the competition, and still come up either in first or last. Anything can happen on a day. And some days it just isn't your day. And with pole vaulting, you just got to accept that some days you aren't going to be able to compete how you think you can, and that's all right. There's another day. Go for it again.
Yeah, because just from a spectator's point of view, I think pole vault is so underrated sometimes. Because, like you say, you never know what's going to happen. And then, obviously, if someone gets their clearance or gets what they want from their performance, then great. But obviously, athletes also have those moments where things don't quite go right. And then your heart sort of sinks to your stomach for them a little bit because you just, like you say, you never know how it's going to pan out after that. So yeah, I can see why you like it, the adrenaline side of things. I don't think you'll ever quite see me competing in pole vault. I don't think I'd quite have the energy or as much passion as you have to do it. But yeah, I totally respect it. And yeah, like I say, big plans for you. I know you've got some stuff lined up. So best of luck with it all. And yeah, thanks for talking to us, Harry. And yeah, we'll keep an eye out for how you get on. And yeah, best of luck with everything.
No, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you.